you went to Milan. I mean, I gotta ask about Milan. What's it like in Milan? Because like we read about it, we hear about it. It's in stories and movies, but what's it like?
So it's a big city, but then to me when I was there, I was there mainly just for my high school time. So
Right.
when I was a teenager,
So, what, we taking 4 or 5 years, or?
it was 5 years of high school.
Okay.
I was there for 4.
Okay, that's a decent amount of time to.
It's a good amount of time. Unfortunately, I wasn't in the best mindset at the time, so I didn't probably make the most of it. I also being from outside, my friends, my classmates were from the city, so it made it very difficult for me to actually go out and do things because going back was always kind of tricky, especially in the evening.
And were you going back every weekend, or?
And I was every day. I was taking the train for 1 hour there, 1 hour
Oh,
back.
God.
Yeah. So but it was great. I used to love walking around after school, but I wasn't happy at all with Milan when I was there as a teenager. Well, I was a teenager. So
Nah, I mean that's the time where it's like you trying to figure out your sense of worth and identity, and things literally fluctuate from I hate this to this is amazing
Yes.
to I hate it to
Exactly. I hate these kind of, and then at the time I always just wanted to be actually funny enough in nature. So I would just come home and go cycling in the forest, and that's where I found the most inspiration from. But Milan, I used to make the most of the art scenario there. There were loads of exhibitions every month, and really interesting ones. In this museum, it's called Palazzo Reale.
Okay.
It's right in the center. They had amazing exhibitions, and I would always go on my own with my mom, with some friends, and then so I was good at kind of making the most of that. But I guess at the time I didn't really experience more the nightlife or the more social kind of
fair enough.
side. But the cultural side, yes, it's great. There is a lot going on. But I feel compared to other places, it feels a bit more out of, at the time it felt a bit more out of my reach. Not going to this exhibition and stuff, but more the creative world. It felt more exclusive. Even, it's very big there, the design and fashion industry, which is not exactly what I'm.
I mean, it's Italy, so you gotta have some sort of fashion.
Yeah, and I'm more interested in fine art or documentary type of work. So, but and there it felt very kind of high society type of thing, see, I don't know. I was kind of thinking, how could you enter this world? You see all these things happening. You see all these fashion photographers, really great photographers, living in Milan, being based in Milan. But then
there's something that happens in the arts, especially because there's a lot of competition, and you can say it's hard as well. But now it's opening up due to the internet and people finding their own audiences. But even now, it can feel a bit it oddly becomes elitist, even though it's one of the. The artists are famously, poor and working hard and doing so many jobs. But then once you sort of get into that circle, you can become the entertainment for the upper class.
Definitely.
And I think with stand-up it's slightly different because you're talking to people in pubs and stuff. But yeah, there is something about arts, and then people take ownership of it, and then it suddenly becomes too posh, and then again, there's this gap that it's completely artificial.
Yeah.
But it just becomes a thing that you're aware of, oh wow, if I could go to those parties, or I could just meet those people.
Exactly, because that's how I feel it's in Italy a lot, is meeting those people, to get into most of creative industries, and it's and I think in Milan scenario I also felt they're very out of place. I felt I would stand out in my town, but then I also felt I really stand out in Milan so much, because in my hometown I was finding it too close-minded. Everybody was they had different interests from mine. But then in Milan, I felt it was too artificial, or very based on the appearance, the way you look and what you wear, and a certain etiquette. And it's I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand it. But also I felt as a woman in Milan, you had to be a certain way.
Okay.
Yes, I don't know. That was maybe my experience as a teenager, being very insecure with my body and all that. But I really felt you had to look Milanese girls look always they look perfect. They were always super fit. They were always so put together, wearing the looking so elegant and spotless. And I think like that was the expectation how you should.
Sometimes like I was thinking about this not too long ago. Sometimes it can be mixed signals. So maybe not everyone says that, but enough people say that it stands out, and it can be. You could say it could be a misunderstanding, but it does happen that if you get these signals back and forth, and they're very strong signals, in both directions, you end up, you have to pick one, and it's very easy to fall into, well, I guess that's what we have to do now, and there is. Yeah, it can be extremely unhealthy, especially at that age, and we all fall into something left and right. But yeah.
And also there, I was like, I'm not like these girls, I don't feel even like them. And sometimes even going to like public spaces, walking around, I would feel uncomfortable because for how I looked or what I was wearing. Even going to parties, like I even didn't feel like feminine or things. And then moving here, that was completely gone.
Well, here you were Italian, and it's like whatever you said, you're like, oh my God, she's perfect.
And people don't really care that much as well about, even in the, I think, professional circumstances, they are much more informal, and you can be much more yourself, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, I don't know about Italy, but even back home in Romania, there's elegance and things like that are highlighted once you go into high society as well. High society, but like even my mom, I keep talking about she's working class, but she has middle class, upper class sensibilities. Like she'll see my shirt and be like, "What are you wearing?
Same, yeah.
What is this?" And I'm like, "Mom, this is what I like."
Yeah, I think in Italy it's like this as well. It's a matter of priorities, my friend said, and it's like there it's a big thing in a lot of, I think, European countries. They kind of like. The etiquette and what you wear and how you act is a really big thing, like how you look. It plays a role even in, like, I think it becomes almost as important as your skills, even when you go for a job or like, but...
First impression, but I think in long term, the skills win, but...
Definitely, but still, like, your look make a big impact in Italy on how, like, people perceive you.
I thought I put this on airplane mode. Sorry, that's actually my mum. I did put it on airplane mode and then I unlocked it. I apologize.
No worries.
Cool, we're back on airplane mode.
But yeah, I think it plays a big role, and sometimes people have felt like, disadvantaged according to how they look, and I think that one here like really is.
I think at an entry level that can be a thing, but like realistically, everybody wants to make money, even in those industries. Like they want to even. It sounds a bit, sort of empty. I just want to make money, but people want to make a living. And at the end of the day, if you can show it with the skills and you can provide the goods, at some point people go, it doesn't really matter what you wear. Because as an actor, I did learn it's all costume. It's all just, like, it's literally just, you change your hair and you put a different cloth on and a different color.
Character.
Yeah, it's all make-believe. And a lot of people are not aware of this, I think. They just put a lot of emphasis and a lot of their identity into this, but it's completely just costume.
Yeah.
It's as an actor, you get a lot of that. You dress up, but that's all it is. It's all just dress up.
Yeah, but as a teenager, that's kind of like it feels like, you obviously don't have the chance to maybe see kind of a bit behind it or like.
I mean, it's an easy thing to fall into. Most of us do it. You might do it for a longer time or a shorter time, or you might just do it on certain occasions or whatever. But yeah, it's just one of those things that over time, if you luckily if you got the right people around you, they're like, calm down.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in all this nonsense. You can break out it. But yeah, it happens to most people, I think.
Definitely. And it's still like now that I used to really hate Milan when I left, and when I was there, I hated it. Now, every time I go back, I like it always more.
Okay.
Like, actually, it's not, especially what helped me to kind of start seeing the beauty of it. It was going with people that weren't from there, like my friends that I met here, and taking them to Milan and actually visiting it almost as a tourist or someone who's from out, a foreigner from it. And I really realized actually it's beautiful. You walk through this, you can't deny it's beautiful. Maybe it's not my favorite city. I like other cities better, but you can't deny.
Yeah. Well, as a tourist, it's always different because you get to see you only get to see the beautiful part or mostly the beautiful parts of a town, because you don't know what it's like when you have to, you know, rush to work and you miss the bus or the bus is not on time and things like that. That's the only experience that when you live there. But as a tourist, it's a great way to experience the beauty and just the positives of anywhere.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, I am always fascinated by sort of every city has its own culture, and especially as you said, as a teenager, when you're still finding your own identity and your sense of worth, it is an extremely sensitive, and yeah, again, it's like almost somewhat bipolar. It goes from like, oh, I love it, I hate it, I love it, I hate it, and it's an odd experience. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I love cities and cultures and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool.